Hey pen fans, this is Dave. And 6 weeks ago I started the long-term evaluation of this pen, which is an Edison pen company, Jameson. It's an oversized pen with a number 8 size nib, very huge, Ebonite feed, and it is a cartridge converter filler. These are bespoke pens. You order them with the resin that you want. You say if you want trim to be gold or silver. You can specify the filling mechanism, just about anything you want. If you wanted to have a different color cap than body, you could ask for that, or different color section. Over that 6 weeks, I have used this pen exclusively, and these are the results. This is going to be a short video because I have no notes. No complaints about this pen at all. It worked very well the entire time. There were no surprises, no gotchas, nothing like that. And that's the first time I can say that about a long-term evaluation. Hopefully it won't be the last, but it is the first time. No false starts, no skipping, no railroading, no burping, no dripping, nothing like that. It's just been a breeze. In fact, I have used 4 different inks, and I used those on 6 different papers, and the whole review on that is up here and what I learned about that. And I'll say that the first 3 inks worked wonderfully. And those are the 3 inks that I use kind of as a standardized test on all of the long-term evaluations, starting out with Waterman Serenity Blue, which seems to be pretty ubiquitous, and nobody has any large complaints about that. It worked so well with that one, I didn't have a direction to go with the next ink, whether I was going to go with the drier Parker Quink Black or the wetter Aurora Black. So I just tossed a coin and I went with the Parker Black ink next, and that performed exactly the same. I don't have any complaints about the way that worked. Used that only for about a week and a half, and then switched over to the Aurora Black, and it worked fine as well. And that's the one I used until the last few days of the test, when I switched to another ink, which was intended to be a real challenge for this pen. And that was, if you noticed on the bottom here, I've got some blue shimmer there. That is from Diamind Blue Pearl, which is a shimmering ink. Now, normally I wouldn't ever consider using a shimmering ink on a fine nib, but it performed well, and I have no complaints about how it behaves with the shimmering ink in it either. You feel a slight amount of kind of a gritty scratchiness when using this, but as far as the flow goes, it's just perfect. Let me do a little sample here. And look how wet that is. And if I would have allowed it to go saturate and dry, we'll hold on to this portion right here so you can see the shimmer at the end of the video, or towards the middle maybe. Actually, you can see it starting to shimmer already. One of the advantages that you have with the Signature Series is being able to specify whether you want feedback or if you want it to be buttery smooth. So anything on that spectrum, and then you can also specify whether or not you want it to be a drier pen or a wetter pen. And I said, give me an 8. And so I have an 8 here as far as wetness is concerned. It is wonderful. It's exactly what I wanted. The reason I think that the Diamind Blue Pearl worked so well with a fine nib is due to the fact that this is a number 8 size nib, and it's being supplied by an Ebonite feed that is capable of doing it. Now you can see some of the shimmer pooling up there on the bottom. There's even more than there was when we started this video. But it still is coming out on the paper first. Now, eventually you would want to clean this off because it's just going to gum up the fins. But if you want to write a few letters this way, it's not going to be a problem. Okay, how did it work as far as cleaning is concerned? Well, being a cartridge converter pen, I had no issues with cleaning it. It was one of the fastest cleaning pens I have. All you need to do is remove the converter and clean that out, or swap it in another one and flush out the nib. Dry time was what you would expect for this. I would let it go for about a half hour, 45 minutes, somewhere in there. Now that converter inside did cause a small rattle in the body. And as you can tell, there's a little bit of a tapered section here at the back. And I think that's just going to be part of the character of this pen, is a little bit of a rattle. That doesn't happen when you're writing or when you're capping or anything. But if you tap it, you can hear an additional click. You won't hear that right now because, as with all Edison pens, the Signature Series as well as the production models, they can be used as a eyedropper filler as well, which is how I have used this pen for this ink and the previous ink, which was Aurora Black. Both of those, I wanted to see how it worked as a eyedropper filler, and that was super easy. With the signature lines, you will get a little tub of silicone grease you can use here on the threads on the inside, not these outside threads that hold on the cap. This is the Edison Menlo. This is a production line pen, and you can get these at Gold Spot. I'll put a link down below. But it is also a cartridge converter pen that can be used as an eyedropper. And again, just put the silicone grease here, just enough, about the size, double the size of the breather hole is all you need to kind of wet the threads here. Having such fine threads and so many of them helps with the seal of the threads and prevent any sort of leaks. But that also means that it's easy to cross thread because they're so fine. So what you want to do typically on anything with threads, in fact, I don't normally use absolutes, but I think this is true of just about anything with threads. You want to twist back until you hear a click or feel a click, and then you can twist forward. What that's doing is it's allowing the threads to click into place. Then you can start the twisting, and that will allow them to mesh the rest of the way. Without doing that, you're taking the chances of getting that first starting thread misaligned with one of the two edges, and that's how things get screwed together cockeyed like that. And if it gets to that point, you will need to have it sent in for repair. One other thing I'll mention about Edison pens is I think, now this is subjective, but I believe that Edison pens are lighter than their competition, lighter in weight. I don't mean cheaper or anything like that. I just mean that they are really well machined and only have as much material as is necessary. This helps improve the comfort in a long writing session in that your hand doesn't have to work as hard with extra weight. But if you're used to a heavier pen, it may take some time to get comfortable with. Now for me, I had just recently started doing exercises to learn to end my death grip on the section, and I'm still working on those, but it came at the right time to have a lighter pen to work with that kind of reminded me to not be so heavy-handed with it. If you do want a heavier pen, I have two options for you. One is to go with the draw filler option. I don't have an example of that here. I do on my Edison Collier Grande, but that's in the shop right now being tuned up. That adds additional weight to the body. The other option I might recommend is, instead of using a converter with this pen or a cartridge, to just always use it as an eyedropper. And that extra volume of ink in here is actually pretty weighty and can add quite a bit of heft to a pen. I don't think that this was too light, not at all. but I do prefer it just a little bit heavier with the using it as an eyedropper. What are my conclusions? Let's talk about price first of all. This is a $350 pen. That's not cheap, but if you compare it to other Grail-like pens in the same sort of quality range, this is just going to clean their clocks. I mean, consider this against a Pelican 800, which is going to run you 2.5 times what the Edison does. And it's something that someone else designed. This is a bespoke pen, one that can be tailored to exactly your needs and specifications. I think that adds a lot of value to a pen. I think now we can see the shimmer really well. And considering that this is a fine nib, I'm just super impressed by that. This made it into my top 11 list, but I can see it being knocked out fairly soon because I'm intending on purchasing another one of these with a draw filler and maybe an ink window. And I don't know, I really like this steel nib, so I don't think I'm going to switch to the gold nib. This has just been a really great pen, and I'm sorry to have to clean it out and put it on the shelf, but I have other long-term evaluations lined up. But I will be coming back to this pen, hopefully in the next couple of months. Well, that's it for me and the Edison Jameson. If you found this video informative or entertaining, please like the video and consider subscribing to the channel. It really helps us out. Thanks for watching, and be well.